Welcome to I'm Screaming, a podcast for anyone who's felt like shamelessly screaming at the top of their lungs over a moment in pop culture.
Because sometimes pop culture can be scary and you gotta let it out. Let's scream about it together.
Hello, Meg.
Hello, Giselle.
Here we are, another week, another episode of I'm Screaming. How are you doing today?
You know, I'm doing fine. It's a Monday. Monday
It
seems
is.
to be our new day now.
It is.
And yeah, it was a beautiful day. Went for a run this morning,
Oh?
which I haven't done in months, a morning run.
Yeah. I mean, we've been working out recently. I've been doing spin.
You've been doing so much spin in Times Square.
Truly in Times Square, which is just a journey.
Incredible. A moment in time that, you know, will not be here for long, so.
Literally will not be here for long, but we're trying.
We love it. But yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good. I was telling Meg before we started recording, I am recording an Instagram takeover today, dear friends. So anyone that comes to this episode from newly, hello. More to be announced later about that, but exciting things are happening in the world of Giselle_Milan. Also exciting things for I'm Screaming. This is our second episode on YouTube.
Yes. I feel like, you know, a lot of people enjoyed maybe getting to see us tell them our top 5 screams of the week.
Yeah. I had some people message me and were like, "Oh, I love that I can witness the facial expressions, all that good stuff." So if you do love seeing our faces, hi, thank you.
Hello.
But yeah,
it'll be interesting how to figure out how we're going to stage this when we are not on Zoom. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be a feat. You guys will hopefully see that soon. But yeah, not that much happened this week.
I feel like a lot of like kind of obscure weird things happened this week.
Yeah.
Not like necessarily a ton of big headlines. Obviously, it's like the world is crazy and a lot of stuff is focused on the upcoming election.
Disclaimer now, we're not going to talk. We will eventually talk about The Bachelor, but I haven't watched it. So we couldn't talk about it this week.
I mean, I know I couldn't actually believe that I watched the whole episode because
I need to.
It was, I'm
taking up painting, so maybe I'll watch it as I paint.
You're taking up painting? I don't see you for a week and you're taking up painting?
I bought watercolors and an easel, but like, look at my easel. For all the people now, I can show you. I bought a mini easel and watercolors because apparently it's supposed to be soothing and I like don't know how to relax. So
I am so obsessed with that. That is just like my little gem thing that I did in the spring when I was so bored at home.
Except for I've taken up a random hobby 8 months into the pandemic. So
your whole thing was that you didn't do a hobby and now it's painting. I mean, it's not, the pandemic isn't over just because you're over it, but it is a little less restrictive. So
also, like, it's funny because I'm tragically terrible at art. Like, actually, like, notoriously bad at art.
I will not stand for this smear campaign against my friend.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll reveal my next painting on next week's episode.
Yes, please do.
But yeah, so this week, lots of obscure things happened. So Meg and I are sharing our 5 screamable moments. Should we just like jump in maybe?
I think so. I think we should start with number 5, which is I think something we really love to do.
Yeah,
which is what we're watching.
Yes.
We love to do a what we're watching roundup. I mean, again, it's basically all on Netflix.
Like literally, it's the easiest.
We are truly Netflix's bitches.
We are giving the coins. Or what is it? It's not even, it's like $12 a month, right? I don't even know.
Yeah, and like I'm not even at the max screen, so I feel like if you like had an extra screen, it'd be like 15 or something.
Oh,
Ted Sarandos.
Always making money.
Always.
Yes,
that coin.
We've been watching things, and I actually think I only have one thing to contribute to this because I know you're going to mention the second thing that I haven't watched yet, which is weird because I know I need to watch it, but I'm waiting for Sean to watch that. But the thing I have watched is Someone Has to Die.
Oh yes, this is something that I like literally like I sent you the trailer for it and then I didn't watch it.
Yes, so Meg recommended this. And Someone Has to Die is basically a Netflix limited series. And the reason that it's intriguing is because Esther Esposito, who plays, what's her name in
Carla on Elite.
Carla, thank you, in Elite, is in this series.
Yes.
And it's, of course, in Spanish. It's set in the 1950s, and basically the premise is all about like this family who kind of all turns on each other, but like the reason for the turmoil within the family is like the son is supposedly gay, and this is like set the whole world aflame. And it is filled with drama, filled with death, filled with affairs. And it's only 3 episodes.
No, love that. I did, when I saw that it was only 3 episodes, I was like, yes, short and simple and sweet and to the point. Love that.
Yeah, and it's like filling the void that has been, sad ever since Elite has like not been on, because like the next season comes out like next year or something. But there's something about just like foreign television that really like gets me. I, of course, have watched a lot of these Spanish shows.
You've watched more than I have, like
Elite,
yeah.
And now this one, I also watched Money Heist. But also, I mean, not to bring up the fact that Giselle loves K-pop for a long period of time, but I also watched a lot of K-dramas, and those really did it for me as well. So if anyone has any other like foreign TV shows that they want to throw my way, let me know.
We love a recomendación.
Oh, come on, language.
I took Spanish in college.
I also took 7 years of French, and all I can say is oui. So love that.
You sure Emily in Paris didn't bring back some of your French?
Oh my God, I finished that, by the way.
Finally.
Terrible. Terrible.
The cliffhanger. It's so.
I know. I was gonna I guess is she gonna go to, what's it called? The south of France? I don't know. With that one.
Oh, I know. On the vacation.
She said can't wait, but she can wait.
She can wait.
But that's my one thing that I watched on Netflix that I think people should watch. Easy. You feel accomplished once you finished it. 10 out of 10 recommend. It's a lot though. I'm gonna actually put a trigger warning on it, because it is really emotionally taxing, and also there is a lot of homophobia, which is hard to watch. I had to shut my eyes, and also I couldn't hear what they were saying because I don't understand Spanish. But there were points where I had to shut my eyes, because it is a lot and can be graphic. It's a good thing all around. It's a good, interesting thing to watch. But I just want to, before I tell everyone in the world to go watch it, understand that we're dealing with whack ass people in the 50s. So take that as you will.
Yes.
But it was an interesting show.
I'm definitely gonna watch it. I mean,
yeah, you'll like it.
I watched the whole trailer and I was interested in it for sure. The thing that you're going to watch that I watched is the BlackPink documentary.
I know.
Which is really good.
Good.
Just really gives you kind of an inside look into the whole world of K-pop and how they get recruited from young ages and basically
trainees,
this whole training camp basically. And you kind of get a feel for each of the girls, before I fully just could not keep them straight. You know what I mean? I just was, there's 4 of them. It's it's the same way if you just weren't following American boy band, you would be like, which one is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're great. They're so funny and cute, and you can just tell they're really hard workers too. It was very, very cool to watch, and it's quick. It's an hour and 25 minutes or something.
I love that. I'm really excited to watch it. Sean, hi, shout out.
Sean, get your shit together. So
I'm waiting. Honestly, it's probably me. I'm waiting to watch it with him. But I think it's so cool. I love BlackPink, as I've said many times, and I think it's cool that people are getting more of an inside look at the world of K-pop, and how it works, and the trainee shit and all that stuff. It's obviously this Netflix documentary is probably not even going into the deep dark depths of actually how fucking insane it is. But yeah, I think I can't wait to watch it. And I want them to stump me. Are there things that I don't know that I'm gonna learn? Maybe.
I mean, I doubt it because you are K-pop knowledgeable, but maybe, who knows?
I'm excited.
Honestly, I'm like thinking now. I've actually been watching a lot. Last week I watched all of The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is the
Oh,
second series in the anthology series that started with The Haunting of Hill House 2 years ago.
yes,
And it's, the first season has 10 episodes. I actually rewatched Hill House after I watched Bly Manor.
of course.
Bly Manor is 9 episodes, and it's some of the same cast, but then they brought in some new people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically, the first season, I'd say, like, Hill House is a lot scarier. People ask me, like, is it scary, whatever. There's jump scares, but I think both of them at their core are about, like, love and family bonds and everything, so it's also like they're both tearjerkers. There's some great diverse cast members in the second season. Like, my favorite character and the best character in the series is this just like gorgeous Black woman who plays
Love.
the house manager, and she just like has like the best moments in it. But the main girl in it, Victoria Pedretti, was also the lead in
Oh
season
yeah.
2 of You on Netflix, and she
Mm-hmm.
was in Hill House as well. And there's like a central like lesbian love story, and like creepy kids, but they're like kind of cute too. I don't know. It's good. I mean, I definitely recommend it. I also watched over the weekend. No, Friday. It was raining, so I got to stay in and just watch the Trial of the Chicago 7,
Oh
which
yeah.
is um it came out on Netflix on Friday. It is basically, you're going to hear about it for the next 6 months until the Oscars. It's absolutely an Oscar baiting movie. It's basically, the backstory of it is it's about the Chicago 7, which was a trial that took place in like 1968, um, where the Nixon administration put these 7, actually 8 men on trial. They were anti-Vietnam War protesters, and they went to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, and it ended up, um, there was riots incited with the police outside the convention. And it, I have a lot of thoughts about this movie. I enjoyed it, I'd say, as just like a piece of work. And it certainly has a lot of moments that, I think if you're just a human, like, they pull at your heartstrings. I think it is inherently flawed in a lot of ways. Obviously, the main cast is mostly just white men. It absolutely does not pass the Bechdel test. But it stars Sacha Baron Cohen,
Yeah.
someone we said we'd never mention on this podcast again, Eddie Redmayne, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Michael Keaton, Frank Langella, um, Mark Rylance, and Jeremy Strong from Succession. So that was the
Oh
reason why I was really compelled to watch it. But also, I think one of the best performances in the movie is from Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who we talked about on
oh
our
yeah.
Emmys episode, who was in Watchmen. He's amazing. He plays Bobby Seale, the leader of the Black Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
who was on trial with these men and then ended up getting a mistrial and he's like treated horribly. There are moments that are very hard to watch. It's Aaron Sorkin. He wrote The Social Network. He's written so many incredible movies. The screenplay like speaks for itself. But there's a lot to contend with in there. Certainly will be getting nominated for awards, I'd say. But I think I'm going to be having a lot of discussions about it, because obviously, with the main topic of it being right to protest, police
Mm-hmm.
brutality, it's very kind of the moment. And it's a reminder that even though right now is certainly an exception, that we're living through this time that is going to live in infamy, basically, as a horrible time in our history, that these kind of things have been around forever. They're gonna,
Yeah.
it is, I think it's a little too optimistic maybe about people in general. Maybe I'm just
Yeah.
more of a cynic. But I definitely recommend it. It's kind of funny, it's quick, it's sharp-witted. Actually, I've never had any feelings towards Sacha Baron Cohen. I've always thought he was quite an enigma, but I thought he was actually excellent in this movie.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it. I have heard like a bit about it in terms of like people rumblings about it, people talking about it.
Hmm.
But I'm definitely excited to like sit down and watch it. I mean, totally what you were saying about like these things happening, and like it mirroring kind of what's going on in like a very different way. And like one thing that because I watched the Spanish Someone Has to Die show with Vera, and we were talking about how like it's so wild that like even though the show is like set and staged in like the 1950s, that like we're still as like a society like making TV and television about like blatant homophobia and like, you know what I mean, like how there's like so much like in people's families, I'm getting kicked out, like all these things are happening just because of someone's sexuality. And we're like, we think to ourselves, because of obviously the way we believe, it's like it's the year 2020, like why are we still talking about this? It's like because this shit's still happening, which is so fucking sad and terrible. And it's like similar to this like Chicago 7 movie. It's like wild that like we still have to watch like all these people, you know, fight for the right to protest, and like that happened so long ago. Shouldn't it be different? But it's like truly not at all. We're just continuously living through it. And it's like, I mean, it's wild to think that like in 50 years like people are gonna be making movies about now, you know, like this time, like what we're going through now.
100%. And I
hopefully
mean,
it changes, but you know.
Yeah, but the trial of Chicago 7 is set like, you know, in the middle of the Vietnam War, the height of the Vietnam War, and all these American soldiers are dying and everything. But it's also like set in the aftermath of the civil rights movement, and there's so much going on. And that's where I think the film lacks, in that it, you know, it's kind of does sideline its characters of color at a certain point, because then technically the main story that they're telling about the trial is just those 7 white guys, right? And so I think my like short little review on Letterboxd was like, did we need a movie in 2020 about like woke white men, you know, fighting the forces of evil, or, you know, fighting against the establishment? Maybe not. I also really enjoyed it because I'm just a sucker for like a good movie and a good story. But it also shows that, you know, it's disguised in a different way today, but also like watching this movie where it's like all these protesters, like, you know, going to Chicago to protest the war and protest, you know, other things, is like, while there's protesters still on the streets right now, is just, it definitely does feel slightly of the moment with a lot of shortcomings, but I would definitely recommend it because I think it is thought-provoking in its own way.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to watch it. And of course, once I do, I'll have many more thoughts. But yeah, that's what we're watching. Also, side note, not Netflix, but another thing that we are both watching is When They See Us. No, sorry. Nope. We Are Who We Are.
We Are Who We Are.
I get them literally so confused because We Are Who We Are is fully a Kesha song, but like, and I'm like, why is it the name of Luca Guadagnino's show? But it is, and we're watching it.
We are watching it. I have to catch up on the last episode because there's another one tonight.
Yes.
And
nothing happens, but like, everything happens.
Literally nothing happens. Nothing. It was a whole episode of just them having a party in a house and like 6 different couples having sex, and it's just like, but yet it's like poignant. I don't know. It's just like,
no, totally.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I'm still trying to figure out like what Luca's purpose behind this is. But
yeah, I'm trying to understand if like watching these shows and these movies and these things that are like extremely stressful is helpful to my sanity or harmful. Because like Luca's show, like I love Luca, obviously love Call Me By Your Name. But like truly it's just sometimes like the scenes with Frasier, who plays the main kid, and like Chloe Sevigny, who plays his mom, like so stressful. Like I literally feel like I can't breathe sometimes when I watch that show because I'm like, what's gonna happen? And also for people that haven't been watching it, it's set in 2016, so it's during the time of
right before Trump got elected.
Trump and Hillary, and you kind of see that whole thing of people on different sides and how they're voting, and like
the Kid Cudi of it all. Which kind of leads into our number 4, but truly the Kid Cudi wearing a MAGA hat of it all is so stressful.
I really couldn't handle
your text when you were watching that, and you were like, oh my god, no, absolutely not, no.
Because it was a roller coaster. At first I was like, oh my god, yes, Kid Cudi getting work, like we love him having work, and then fully his character put on a MAGA hat, and I was like, oh Lord Jesus. Yes. Like I literally had like put a picture of Kid Cudi up on my Instagram, but then saw he was wearing a MAGA hat in this show, and I was like, wait, okay, I still love Kid Cudi, but like his character.
Yeah, it's the character.
But like, yeah, agreed. Moving into our number 4.
Well, right before we do, I just have to say something. on the record for this podcast.
Oh my God.
Call back to our very first episode is that I did something that I said I was going to do in that episode literally 5-6 months ago, which is I watched The King of Staten Island.
Oh my God, she did.
Finally watched The King of Staten Island. For those who are new listeners to the pod, one of my 5 screams in our first episode was that I was feeling endeared towards Pete Davidson because the trailer for King of Staten Island had come out, and I was worried because sorry, oh my gosh, this cough. I don't have COVID. This is just a tickle in my throat.
I was literally gonna scream COVID, but like it's not funny. But also like terrified always.
Always terrified, always wearing a mask.
Always. Mask up, be brave.
Mask up, be brave. But also, yeah, I mean, it was fine. It also, the reason I thought of it is because Kid Cudi's The Pursuit of Happiness is featured, of course, in that movie.
Famously also featured in
fine.
Project X.
It's decent. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a good time. It's a little too long. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
And I feel like I famously will never watch it. But maybe.
Famously will never watch it.
If I do, I'll of course have to let the pod know, but Mr. Davidson is not tickling my fancy. Also, like I know we're gonna talk about SNL later, but truly like every time I see his name pop up on the SNL screen, I'm like, for what?
Because he's barely in it.
Yeah, literally for what? But okay, number 4.
Okay, number 4, I want you to take this away for a bit because I feel like you had very strong feelings about this last week.
Yeah, so number 4 is really a question, kind of like posing a question to you, the listeners of the pod, also maybe just the world.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, our world has really created this full fantasy obsession with none other than Mr. Timothee Chalamet. And recently, post his GQ cover and interview, also he had like a fantasy-like video on the YouTube. I sat and thought to myself, why? Why are we obsessed with him? Like, why are we obsessed with skinny white men? And that's no tea, no shade, because like I love Harry Styles, like I like Timothee Chalamet, like they're Don O'Brien, a new favorite of mine. There's some skinny white men.
We're gonna have to dedicate a whole segment to Dylan O'Brien and your newfound love of him one day, and the fact like my like longtime stand-up, because he's like maybe the like one of the patron saints of this podcast at this point.
Agreed. We need
a woke king. Like, bow down, has a new movie out that everybody's obsessed with on VOD. I'm like, am I going to pay money to watch this? Probably.
Literally. And I think, and Meg, your statement there segues me into maybe a point, is that I think, is it our obsession with skinny white men that are woke? It's like, because we don't see them corresponding, but also people think Timothée Chalamet is hot, to which I go through phases of thinking Timothée Chalamet is cute, because like sometimes I'm like, literally this man's just a skinny white man, and sometimes I'm like, oh, but like he's giving me like skinny white man with like
giving
fashion.
Me face.
He's giving me
cheekbones.
He's giving me floppy hair, but make it cute. Yeah. So I'm just trying to understand the appeal to Timothée Chalamet, and then also I'm like, I do think he was a great actor in Call Me by Your Name. Mm-hmm. Lady Bird, I was like, okay, you're just like acting in this
very anarchist, very Saoirse,
so, like let's give the flowers to Saoirse. But yeah, people like the world is obsessed with him. He's gonna be in that new movie with every famous person ever created. I don't even know what it is. Like, is it Ocean's 8? Is it that? I don't know. Is it that? Is it I literally don't know what it is. I've been trying to research.
No, so basically it's Adam McKay, who is behind actually Succession. He's an executive producer on Succession, but he also directed or wrote The Big Short.
Oh, this man. And that movie, that literally the worst movie
and
of the
Vice, which I hated so much.
I've never physically been in the theater hating my life more than that movie.
And yes, so basically I'm looking up the name of it because it's escaping me right now, but I do know what it's about. It is about a few scientists who are traveling around the country warning of some sort of like catastrophic environmental event. It's called Don't Look Up.
Oh yeah.
And I believe so it's like an asteroid or something. And basically it's starring Jennifer Lawrence as one of the scientists.
Clown. Go through, I'll say if they're clowns or
not. And Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the scientists. And Rob Morgan, who we love Rob Morgan. You know what from? Just Mercy.
We do love Rob Morgan.
And as well as the photograph, the dad in the photograph.
Yes, we like him.
So we love this for him. And apparently it's basically like they embark on a media tour to warn mankind of an approaching asteroid that will destroy Earth. And like, it's kind of going to be like a dark comedy.
Yeah.
And basically I don't know whether it's going to be Jennifer Lawrence or Rob Morgan or Leonardo DiCaprio, but one of them becomes a celebrity and the other one becomes like hated by the American public. And I do know that Meryl Streep plays the president and Jonah Hill is going to play her son.
And Kid Cudi.
And Kid Cudi is going to be in it, and Himesh Patel, and Matthew Perry from Friends, and Timothee Chalamet, and Ariana Grande, who is going to sing. Also Kate Blanchett.
Literally what?
So it's basically like an insane cast. But as I spoke these words on Twitter the other day, but it was like this cast, the serve, like it has like some insane amount of Oscar nominations across the entire cast. Like if you added all of them up, it's like fucking like 50 Oscar nominations. But I just basically was like, watch it be awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
sometimes you overstuff things and it's just like you don't know where to look, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like I said, I hate advice, so I don't like, it's not like an Adam McKay we trust. I obviously love Succession. I thought The Big Short was great. So who knows? Like I'm excited to see what this is like, whether it be a train wreck or a triumph.
Totally. I mean, like, truly sometimes I'm like the clownery of it all, because like I like obviously like Ariana Grande, we're gonna talk about her later, but like she's someone who at this point, I know she started her career as an actor, but like I just can't take her seriously on a screen. Like I can't. I can't.
I bet it's a cameo and she's just gonna sing. There's too many people in this movie for her to have a big role.
That's true. But I mean, yeah, so that movie's is the thing that's happening. But all of that to say, everyone, why Timothee Chalamet? Maybe we'll post a picture of Timothee Chalamet on the Instagram and have people list their reasons of why they love him. But Meg, what's yours?
It's hard because I go back and forth and up and down with him. I mean, I've been on the record on this podcast frustrated with him when he flew to Mexico during the pandemic.
Yes.
But this GQ moment was a moment. And
it was. For what?
I think it's when he's so endearing when he's able to speak like for himself, and when he's doing interviews and stuff. It's like, you know, like I had a high with Timmy when he was doing press for Little Women, you know, and all he did was praising these women and like how grateful he was to be like working with Greta again and like all this stuff. And I thought he was great in Little Women. And again, now I think reading this article, hearing how he feels about, you know, the paparazzi and his life and people commenting on his relationship with Johnny Depp's daughter and like all this stuff. I don't know. I mean, like it could all be bullshit, but I just think he's very, you know, he's like, he can act really timid. He can act really closed off. He can come off as really just like vulnerable, I think. And combined then with these photos of him looking, you know, amazing. And I think it's about the right eye behind the camera with him because of his very strong features. He kind of reminds me of a fave of yours, not a skinny white man, but a white man indeed, Adam Driver, who it depends on the angle, it depends on the, you know, the look and the moment, but he either literally looks incredibly sexy or kind of like a horse.
No, totally. I mean, like, agreed.
And it's kind of same with Timmy. Like, it is kind of same. Like, sometimes I look at him and I'm like, what? But then it's like these photos come out and he has this strong fashion sense as well that I think is the same way with Harry Styles, where they're comfortable, or, you know, portray themselves as comfortable with their sexuality, or, you know, in a way that allows them to just kind of like wear these clothes that are really bold and really like a moment. And I think that Timmy is an enigma, but I think when he lets us in a little bit, it endears me to him more. Yeah, I mean, even like, you know, him posting for Zendaya on her birthday being like one of the greatest people I've ever met, and like all this stuff, like he comes across very authentic sometimes. And then it's like his sister just got cast in that new Mindy Kaling show.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And he was like so happy and supportive of her, and then he's of course like on his Instagram being like, vote the fucker out, and I'm like, yes, to me, like, yes.
I know. There are these things that I'm like, yes, this is great. I do think that, like, and we've talked about this before too, like, I think he is kind of gonna is can sometimes come off as like the asshole actor that like the Leos and the Brads of the world give me. Like, I do think that, like, hopefully he doesn't like turn into that, but I get those vibes sometimes. But
totally.
I mean, the bar is just set so low for straight men, and like, or like, you know, straight presenting men and also straight presenting white men, that Timmy is really reaching this like bar that is extremely high because the bar is set so low. But yeah, I was just thinking about that lately, like, and I think people like this was prompted by like someone who I think I've mentioned on this podcast before, Marjan Carlos, who's like a fashion reporter, critic that I talk about a lot and I love. And she posted a little blurb from the GQ photos. She was like, love that this was taken by a Black photographer, but like, why are we all obsessed with Timothee Chalamet and like giving this like white man clout when like there's so many great people of color and also just like people in general doing better things. And I'm like, I mean, true. But also I totally like get the appeal. So yeah, this is a question to the listeners of the pod. What are your feelings on Timmy Chalamet? Do you think he's actually a talented actor? Do you think it's all kind of what the world is wanting right now? Do you think it's just like clout? What do we think? What do we think?
I do also just like a final point that I just thought of. Like, you talked about like the Leos, you know, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, like all of those like 40, 50-year-old guys now. Christian Bale, like even like someone like Johnny Depp, who carried the Pirates franchise for like 15 years. Obviously he's a trash man, but like, you know, he's almost filling the void of a movie star when there was no clear like front runner, you know what I mean? And I think that's something that like Harry Styles might be doing too, is that he sees an opportunity to be this romantic male lead of a certain age in his 20s, you know, that could really propel him to that kind of a career. And it's like,
I mean, totally, he's like our Bowie, like that's what Harry's filling, you know?
Exactly. And it's like, I mean, notoriously the Oscars award younger women and older men because they want to induct the newest female ingenue, and they want to award these like older men who've had these like storied long careers. Exhibit A, Gary Oldman winning over Timmy that year at the Oscars.
Zendaya winning this year.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of all awards bodies. So I do think that's the fascination with him, and it will be interesting to see now that Dune's been pushed back and might be able to have more of like a worldwide theatrical release, like big hype thing. Whether he'll be able to carry that kind of a franchise, you know, whether they're going to get a second movie or a third movie or whatever. Because right now he's doing very like art house, very like indie dramas, which is great. It's what he's good at. But it's going to be really interesting to see. So I think we're in for a lot of ups and downs with him. You know, this conversation is not over yet, and it will never be over. It's the same way, you know, sometimes I'm like, yes, Leonardo DiCaprio, like save the environment. And then other times I'm like, you're gross. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So I do think he's here for a long time though. I think there was some question about that for a while, whether he had the longevity. And I mean, I do think there are still some question marks, but everyone wants to work with him. He is the moment, and sometimes he comes around to remind us of that, and that was what the GQ article was.
I mean, he really did. No one was talking about him, and then all of a sudden the world was talking about him.
Yeah, especially because it was like the Dune trailer, that was really exciting, and then of course Dune got pushed back. So now it's this, like it's it's a reminder of that. It'll be interesting. I mean, I would love to see like him and Harry Styles nominated for the same Oscar one day or something. Like that would just be fucking wild because the fangirls would be losing their minds.
Literally shitting themselves.
And then throw in a Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan can win instead.
Honestly.
Or a Dev Patel.
Dev
Patel gonna be in a Chippendales movie. Did
Brian Tyree?
Brian Tyree Henry, even though
Dev
he's
Patel's
more of
gonna be
that.
in a Chippendale movie. I did see that.
Yes, I'm still just like sweating from that news.
Big things for our men coming up. But yeah, thank you everyone for humoring my Timothee Chalamet just musing.
Maybe we'll do a feed post about this and like get people in conversation in the comments because I really want to hear what people have to say.
Yeah, let's do it. Look out for that, everyone.
Yes.
But that takes us into our number 3, which is just chats about, SNL. Because SNL. I mean, the thing about SNL is like I actually like never watch SNL. Like I can barely stay up for it. I'm truly becoming a grandmother. Like I can't stay up for it.
First point on that, why can't they just make it a little bit earlier? Nobody is doing anything. It's a pandemic.
11:30 is truly
so late
for no reason. Why? But I only watch when like there's a relevant person who's performing or hosting.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked already, like we actually been talking about them a lot because 2 weeks ago we talked about Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes.
And last week was actually a very star-studded duo. For 2 very different reasons.
Yes. Opposites.
Truly opposite. But I mean, the performer was Justin Bieber, and the host was Issa Rae.
Yes, she looked stunning. Just get that off my chest. Beautiful.
I mean, Issa Rae is truly gorgeous.
Yes.
And I think obviously with her, it was her first time hosting SNL. There's a lot of pressure on the host, especially when they're not like full-fledged comedians. Like Issa Rae is just funny. She's just a funny human.
Oh yeah.
But one thing that I actually found that was like super interesting about kind of watching her like trajectory on like announcing it to like actually doing it to like the next morning waking up and reading Twitter. Like I think she was actually very funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even if she wasn't funny, people would still like congratulate her and hype her up and tell her that she was funny because like I'm realizing is that person. She has that energy where like I think there's some celebrities where like people want to see them succeed. It's like people want them to do great. Like, and I do think that's Issa Rae. Like I feel like she could have done anything on that SNL stage and people would have commented on Twitter. And like it's rare to go on Twitter and see no bad things about someone. Like truly
totally.
Everyone was like, the SNL flopped like that Donald Trump and Biden like intro, but Issa killed it. Like, or even people that were like negative about the episode were like, damn, like wish Issa Rae didn't have to like host an episode where SNL fumbled the bag for their intro.
Yeah.
Or like whatever. Like it was nothing negative about Issa, which like that's so cool to be a celebrity that like garners that much like adoration from their fans. And I think that's funny because on the flip side, next week who's hosting SNL, or which is I don't actually understand how she's doing this because is she funny?
Is it next? I don't know if it's definitely next week or if it's in like 2 weeks or something.
Oh, maybe it's in 2 weeks. But yeah. Adele.
I mean, this news, the stress of this news is.
And I do think Adele used to be.
Oh, it is. It is Saturday. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I really just like didn't realize they only announce it like with very short.
It's wild.
Turnover.
But I do think it's funny because I do think at a long point in Adele's career, she was very much someone who, similarly to Issa Rae, kind of like she could do no wrong. There was no, like, she could put out any song, it would chart, it would go number 1. She could do anything and people would just like bow down at Adele's feet and be like, queen, 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 queen.
Mm-hmm.
But over the last couple of months in Adele's career, she's been doing some questionable things. And that's why I'm super intrigued to see kind of, number one, how she does as the host of SNL, because she's not an actress or an actor, she's a musician, so that's interesting. But also, like, I do think people right now are at a point in their fandom. Like circle of life, whatever, with Adele, where like either you're kind of like on her team or like you're not, you know what I mean? So like I think there are people who like Adele could do great and they'd still be like, fuck Adele, like, you know what I mean? Like she sucked even if she did great. And I do think there's people who like Adele could do shit, and just like the people who are like not clocking her for the fucking band two knots and they're like, that's Queen Adele. Like I do think she's becoming more of like a visceral reaction type of person.
Oh, totally. She's really divisive. She's become really divisive, and it's interesting because she's like one of the best-selling artists of this century, you know what I mean?
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
or this, you know, like this millennium, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's also just so weird that she's hosting and like not performing, but I think she's going to end up performing. But also I would be mad if I were her, because her is performing, is the musical guest. And like, if Adele's just gonna like drop a new single on SNL on Saturday, like that's like, why not just be the host and the musical guest? Like why? It's just so weird. It's so strange. And like, I mean, I said this to you and Vera, like, I just worry like this is gonna be like a problematic thing for her. Like she's gonna do her, like, she stresses me out so much that I just like, it's so weird. And like, I mean, I didn't watch the Justin Bieber performance because like I just have no time for him, even though that Holy song, I hated it at the beginning and now it's kind of growing on me because it's just like, I don't know, whatever. I don't like Justin Bieber. But like, it just seems like very like kind of mismatched hosts and performers these days. Like,
I know. I think
SNL has not been getting good reviews at all. It's like, I mean, it's a culturally, and it's not funny. It's a culturally important, you know, it's a facet of our culture, our pop culture for the past 40 years that has been so like important and reflective, obviously, of everything going on in the world. And I mean, I do not think Jim Carrey's Biden is funny.
No.
And I cannot stand Alec Baldwin, even though obviously he's making fun of Trump, so like whatever, but I don't think he's funny doing Trump. And it's just kind of like, what is it saying? What is it trying to say? What is the joke? Because if it's just laughing for the sake of like Jim Carrey pretending to be the fly on Pence's head and not actually smartly, that's a word, right? Smartly commenting on what's going on as well, then, you know, keep it. Like, I don't want it. And also don't bring in all these people. Like, don't bring in someone like Issa Rae, who is smart, who is talented, who, and then just like stick her with like shitty sketches. Or,
no,
like,
I 100% agree with you. And I, as you were kind of saying all you were saying, it's kind of this idea that like SNL is very much part of like the old guard, and kind of like, like at my job, we were kind of talking about it, obviously, because, you know, Issa is a part of Sienna Naturals. Yes. So therefore, like, I talk about Issa at work.
Of course.
But we were talking about it, and we were just like, Hannah, who's the founder of Sienna Naturals, was like, I grew up watching SNL. Like, she was like, SNL was such a part of my childhood, my family time. Like, we would sit in front of the TV and watch it. And that's just like not the case for me. Like, I just like never really partook in it. But like, I think one thing is interesting. It's like, when I think about sketch comedy that was funny to me, I think about all that. And like, obviously it's funny because Keenan is like now also on SNL. But like, they were kids and they were our age and they were doing things that are funny. And like, maybe older people think SNL is funny, but like, I think it'd be fucking cool if like 10 hilarious TikTokers had a sketch show. Like, could that platform transition to something that's more mainstream television? Because like, I sometimes find myself laughing at TikToks. Like that one woman, like I've been laughing about it all weekend. The woman who's like, oh, like I wanted to see you this weekend, but oh, it's a pandemic. Or like Spencer, I don't know if you follow him, but like he does like the daily screams, and he's just like,
oh yes,
he just kills me. And like, they're just people who are like funny, but it's like not in a cheesy way. And I do think SNL is just trying so hard, which is another reason why.
They're trying to be important still. Again, we talked about clinging to relevancy last week. People clinging to relevancy. They are clinging to relevancy.
And they're not getting fresh blood. Like, even with Chloe and Bowen, like I think are funnier than a lot of other people.
They're my favorites, basically.
Yeah, they're like, and I mean, Kate McKinnon is a queen.
Always
She's
funny.
just funny, but also like you were saying, like they stick Kate in like these stupid sketches.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's like, and they use her, they overuse her almost.
And they don't use people like Cecily, or they don't
who
use,
is funny.
Like it literally.
I know, and it's like shoving fucking Colin Jost down my throat. I don't care about Colin Jost. You know
Truly.
what I mean?
And I'm like, let's get some fresh blood. Let's get some fucking like 20-year-olds in here. Like,
yes.
let's get people who are like actually producing funny content for now, because like these people like just like aren't, or like maybe they are funny, like we said about Cecily, but they're not letting them be funny. Like, I don't know what it is, but like SNL has got to get some new life injected into those veins.
It feels incredibly stale. And I mean, I can't imagine what Adele's monologue is going to be like next week, or what
I can't
kind of
imagine Adele acting.
They're going to write for her. I mean, I know it's like, I don't know. It's
also,
so
is
weird.
She well? Like, honestly,
no, she's not well.
I would love people to check on Adele.
But this is what I mean. This is leading into our next one, kind of. But I do think she's supposed to be putting out new music soon. And there was a funny joke I saw on Twitter that was something like, because Adele and Jennifer Lawrence are good friends, and so it's like, oh my gosh, Adele's mind, like she got Jennifer Lawrence to hire Ariana Grande to be in her new movie, so that Jennifer Lawrence could find out when Ariana's dropping the albums, that Adele could drop her album first.
Yeah.
Which is just like, I mean, it was so stupid, but I was like, okay, like 5 degrees of separation, like all these people are connected, it's ridiculous. But I don't know, I mean, I just don't think Adele needed to like go on SNL to promote herself right now, you know what I mean? Like, it's
no, there was not a need for it. No one needed it.
No one wanted it.
But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of the SNL chat. It's just like, congrats to Issa. It is a bit like, obviously it's a big moment in anyone's career. Congrats to Adele. Justin Bieber is annoying, but I thought he sounded better than he has in maybe 10 years.
That song lends itself very well to his voice too.
Yeah. I thought, like we said, Megan 2 weeks ago was great. But,
yeah, a lot of people liked Bill Burr. Bill Burr was like, again, divisive. I saw one tweet that was like, I hate Bill Burr. The next tweet was, Bill Burr's so funny. You know, they're making a lot of choices, and I am nervous to see like what they continue to do at this point. It's very stressful.
Agreed. But yeah, SNL, we'll see what you do. I mean, I will be watching for Adele.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think I'll be watching live, but like Sunday morning for sure.
Yeah, Adele's not, I'm sorry, Adele, I can't stay up for you, but like, I'll watch the next day.
They'll still get those same plus next day ratings. Don't worry about it.
Yes. But moving into number 2 is music. More specific. I know. That sigh really puts so much of what I'm about to say into this conversation, because like you more than anyone have seen me do a complete like 360, 180, whatever with this person.
Yeah.
It's Ariana Grande. Mm-hmm. And she basically, we all probably saw that she tweeted, can't wait to share new music or the album with you this month, which like the month has 10 more days in it. So but then she posted on Instagram. Of course, it blew up, went viral. She's releasing new music. I think, and maybe this is what it is. I was so obsessed loved, no pun intended, loved Ari for so long. Like I watched her obviously on Victorious, didn't really care that much. But then like her first album, I was such a stan of her music. As you know, Meg, and I think similar to you, she's either been our top played or second top played person for the last 4 years. Like her and Gaga and Beyonce for me, but mostly her and Gaga have been like teetering 1 and 2 for like the past 4 years.
Yeah. The only difference in our top 5 is usually just that I have Taylor Swift up there.
Yeah, literally. And like my 5th person like always transitions, but it's pretty consistently.
It's always Ari, Gaga, Taylor, and Beyonce for me. And
yeah, mine
fucking Glee cast sneaks its ass in there.
Yeah, no, literally. Mine is always Beyonce, Gaga, Ari, and then like sometimes like SZA, Kehlani, Kim Petras.
Secret made her way into mine.
I think Muna will make its way into mine this year, which I'm thrilled about. But back to Ari. So I think that for me and Ari, like I think I'm just like I'm exhausted of her. Like I was a fan, obviously, and then truly like last year and the year before, the last 2 years, she just like was everywhere. Like it was just like Ari overload. And like, I know that as a fan, like you want your person you're a fan of to be everywhere, but it just kind of like drained me. Like I listened to her so much that like I literally this year, like I don't think she's gonna be in my top 5 because I just, maybe now with the album, but I just like have not listened to Ari at all this year. Like I love her. Like if the song comes on, I'm gonna like know every word and sing it. But like voluntarily playing Ari, like if you look back on my playlist for the last 8 months, none of her songs are really in it other than Rain on Me, which is with Gaga.
I mean, so true. And I mean, as much as I welcome new music, I mean, she's incredibly talented and like, it's been a minute. I also think when I heard this news, I was like, oh, great new music. But I was like she probably could have waited until next year and given us a little bit of breathing room, even though like Thank You Next came out last February. But it's like, then we got the live album, which, it's kind of a joke between us, but it's like actually true, is that I listen to the live album a lot. But even like in the past couple months, I mean, obviously because Taylor Swift released an album and that's been like in major rotation, but also Chromatica. And then, just like a lot of Scandi pop recently has been in my rotation that I really haven't been listening to a ton of her stuff. I don't know if I wore it out for a while.
Yeah, I think there's like a sweet spot. You know what I mean?
There is
like,
a sweet spot. And I think she did it well last time where Sweetener was like, everybody was waiting for it and everybody was excited for it. But then it was, I mean, to go back to SNL, that was the last time I actually cared about SNL, was when she was engaged to Pete Davidson, and there was always shit about that on SNL, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of like made SNL a thing for a hot minute. But then it was like, Thank You Next so soon, her tour, all this stuff.
But it like made sense then because like obviously she went through like Mac Miller and like and the Pete Davidson stuff. Like to me it was like the cadence of like Sweetener to Thank You Next made sense. But like I agree with you. Like I feel like there's this like no one's like, maybe people are, but like I feel like no one's like, oh damn, where's that Ari album? You know?
I mean,
like
her stans, like her Arianators or whatever, are like weeping with joy. But it really did come and go last week. I think she thought this tweet was gonna drop and everybody was gonna be it was gonna be the news cycle for weeks, because I think at this point she's gotta drop a single on Friday, because she said there's a single coming before the album. So she's gotta drop a single on Friday and then the album next week, and it's like, I get it, but it's like there's a difference between, not to compare women, not to put them against each other, anything. There's a difference between what Taylor Swift did, which was, boom, tomorrow I'm dropping an album. And it was the news cycle for the weekend. You know what I mean? It was, everybody was talking about it. And her just being like, hi, I'm dropping it at some point.
Yeah. Like,
and people just being like, what's going on? This is annoying. Just tell us, kind of thing,
I do. I think like, obviously I'm gonna stream, it's gonna be good. She's gonna
100%.
Like I do think, I'm like, did everyone need to drop an album this year? Like I mean, I'm still going off of Chromatica, if we're being honest. Like
same.
And you know what I mean? Like I do think there's some, like I said, some sort of allure to like, not the allure of Normani, because girly pop, we need some music now. But I do think there's like, when Dua really played the long game, and like we were all excited for the album, and Chromatica
was amazing.
I mean, like we were all excited about Chromatica. She could have promoted it more, but she told people to vote, which we love. But yeah, I just think, obviously we're excited, but as someone who is a fan, it's a bit, I was like, okay, like yay album, but like I wasn't craving it, so I'm like, okay, like next thing, yay Ari album.
Totally.
But like
no, I mean, it's like, Ariana new album, Little Mix new album coming up,
which I can't wait for.
I mean, I'm excited. Confetti. That happiness was amazing.
Kubale texted me, because like Kubale and I both love Little Mix, but she's more critical than I am. But she texted me today and she was like, sent me happiness, and she was like, this is iconic. I was like, I'm telling you,
yes,
it's gonna be good.
It is. But then it's Billie Eilish is dropping a song next month. She's coming back. And then it's like there's apparently a Dua and Miley collab coming out. So it is just like a lot at once, but I really didn't. And then like Adele, probably at this point, they said before the end of the year. And then who fucking knows? Rihanna might just like drop an album on New Year's Eve. Like, it's just, I don't know. I wasn't really expecting Ari right now. So it was kind of like, it threw me for a loop. And, the way that it's been just with her, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like you said, we'll stream it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But Last thing.
Yes, I mean, this can be short and sweet
I
because
agree.
there's like basically just like there's nothing else to say other than I want to shame the Kardashians and remind everybody of the most important golden rule.
Like literally, once again, I think it's not enough for us and people to like just say that they're voting. Like, I am personally voting for Biden and Kamala Harris. I know Meg is also personally voting for Biden and Kamala Harris.
Of course.
It's not fucking funny to vote for Kanye West, people. It's not funny.
Just a reminder, do not vote for Kanye West, okay? Even though fucking Courtney, bitch, literally you bitch, is wearing his fucking Vote Kanye merch on her Instagram story, and Kim is encouraging people to vote in her skims. Like, it's so important. No, tell your husband to drop out. It's not fucking funny. Also, don't write in anyone else. No. Don't write in anyone.
Literally, there's an option and you should choose that one, and we've said what the option is, so like choose the option. But like truly, like I there's nothing more to say except for the fucking foolishness of the Kardashians, the fucking foolishness of Kanye West playing with people's lives that literally hang in the balance right now.
And nothing is going to happen to them, by the way. Their lives are not going to change.
I can't.
So they don't give a fuck. They don't care about anybody else. They just care about themselves.
Say it with us, everyone. Do not vote for Kanye West. One more time. Do not vote for Kanye West. Thank you. And that's where I have to end that.
That's all. I mean, that's literally all. I saw that photo of Courtney and I was filled with rage.
Also, Issa, with rage. Did you see that on SNL?
Yes, and I mean, honestly, a lot of ours tie together today because Issa made a joke about Kanye.
Yeah, I'm voting for everyone Black except Kanye West, which like, yes, queen. Like, we literally love that.
We absolutely stan. Anyway, that was our number one, but I know you wanted to say something about our Go Girl Give Us Nothing, which I think is kind of ironic. We're going from one person in this relationship or this former relationship to the other person.
Yeah, and it's like I have to preface, like, this person is Demi Lovato. And it's just like, I know she's giving us like something because like she's telling people that like obviously Trump sucks, so like vote for Biden or whatever she's trying to do. But like the Commander-in-Chief song, just go on your Instagram and tell people to vote for Joe Biden. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I think she was trying to do like a pink Dear Mr. President to President Bush moment.
Yeah.
But like it didn't translate in the same way. I don't think. Like,
no, it definitely
I'm just like,
didn't.
Demi, that's
Mark Ruffalo. Did you see Mark Ruffalo like quote tweeted it and was kind of like, "Thanks for the effort, Demi." And he didn't like, say that, but it was very much a very like, "Thank you, Demi, like for your contribution."
Totally. And then on the post, it's like all these fucking Trump 2020 people. I'm like, let's not fuel their fire. Let's just like tell people that you're voting for Joe Biden, why you're voting for Joe Biden, and like let's continue on. Like, we don't need to like continue to fire the flames of like clownery that surrounds this election.
Yeah, enough.
I know she means well. Like, I get it. I understand. I mean, you're doing better than some people who are not staying to vote or like being bipartisan, but like the Commander-in-Chief song.
It's like, what is it?
Demi, you're not a clown. Well, maybe you are, but like, why are you continuously doing clown things? Why?
It's just the lyrics.
See,
Commander-in-Chief. Honestly, I don't think that's how it goes. If I did the things you do, I couldn't sleep. Seriously.
Like,
do you even know the truth? We're in a state of crisis. People are dying while you line your pockets deep. Commander-in-Chief, how does it feel to still be able to breathe? Like drag him, Demi.
Yes, like drag him, Demi, but like we did not need the song.
Literally.
Just the clownery. Like, let's not, like, I know she's not trying to make it a joke, but like inherently it becomes this like joke.
No, like, it did not feel as serious and as like a gut punch, like a real
performed
like
at the Billboard Music Awards.
Oh no, I didn't even know they were on. That's really bad for me. I fully was like, the Billboard Music Awards are on.
They let Doja Cat perform again. I'm done.
It was.
But yeah, so that was my go girl give us nothing because she's giving us too much clownery. I mean, follow her lead. Don't vote for Donald Trump, but also like the song.
No, I mean it's much more of a softer "Go Girl, Give Us Nothing" than
I wanted to talk about
than last week,
so.
but it is very much like I said again. "Go Girl, Give Us Nothing" does not necessarily mean you're giving us nothing. It means you're giving us something that
is giving us nothing.
Is giving us nothing. Literally, that is not contributing anything positive.
No.
Oh, Demi.
I mean, honestly, though, we had like 5 randomish things, but in weird ways, they all connected to each other.
Fully, we kept going back to them, and I love that for us. I love our minds and the iconacity of that.
The iconacity of the way our minds work, it's really
also,
fun.
I have people who are using iconacity like when talking to me now. So it's like we've made it a thing. It's amazing.
No, like I'm really waiting for Merriam-Webster to contact us and give us our award for creating a new word for the dictionary.
Literally, and we have it on our Instagram. We have the timestamp, so like nobody can pretend that they invented Copyright. I'm Screaming Pod 2020.
Literally. But yeah, thank you all for listening. As always, hope you guys liked this episode. As we always say, I want you to pause. Go on Apple Podcasts, leave us a cheeky 5-star review if you liked what you heard. We have some exciting things coming up. We are actually going to be doing a fun bonus episode.
I think maybe this week, for spooky season. We're going to talk about our favorite iconic spooky season pop culture moments and things.
All Hallows Eve will be talked about. Maybe we'll do it in costumes.
I mean, maybe I can find something.
Maybe not. But yes, look forward to that, everyone. I hope everyone has a beautiful week. Thanks for listening. And as always, love you, Meg.
Love you, G.